Let's talk about flirting over text messaging. Now listen, I know that in my over 1,000 video catalog of YouTube videos, there's at least 1 or 2 videos that are titled and talk about how to flirt with a girl over text. And here's the thing. Yes, I'm about to tell you something that's going to be drastically different from those, but of course, I've been doing this for 10 years. So I'd say about 95% of my material I stand by and still stays the same. But once in a while, you catch something where you're like, you know what? I don't really like that advice anymore. So I'm going to be giving you something different that I think is better and for what you should do. So let's talk about why you shouldn't be flirting with her over text message. And then that way, once you know this, it's going to make it so much easier for you to get more dates. And what's really underrated is this idea of being able to get dates and get a lot of first dates so that you can become more confident on first dates. Guys want to be more confident with women. Well, in order to do that, you got to be more competent. So you want to go on a lot of first dates so you get really good at them and real comfortable with them. And knowing how to text is going to get you there. So let's talk about some of these dangers and some of the things that happen when you're trying so hard to flirt with her over text. First problem is this, and I've been caught in these situations before. That's why I don't love texting all the time, is we read text messages in our own voice. So when I'm picking up my phone and I'm reading it in Tripp voice, in the way that I would say the thing that's in front of me. Okay, so that's how I'm going to read it. So that means that it's being filtered through the way that I'm interpreting it because it's being read in my own voice. Do you see the problem here? The problem is that someone can say something to me and the way I interpret it can be completely different. And this is where it gets tricky because flirting is something that is really subtle and it's more done through the behavioral cues when you're with someone and sub-communications. Flirting is done through sub-communications. It's not done through reading a text message. Those sub-communications need to be there. The tone in your voice, the way that you might smile at her when you say something to her that's meant to be flirty, right? So one way of flirting is teasing. So if you say a tease to a woman and you say it in a very dry way that doesn't seem like a tease, well, she's going to be offended. So you might say it in a very lighthearted way where you're going to be smiling a little bit when you say it. That doesn't come off in text. Yeah, I get it. You can use emoticons, but still, it gets a little tricky here. So my point is this is dangerous because if she reads a text message in her own voice and you're trying to flirt with her in a certain way, you could easily turn her off, okay? So this increases the error that can be had in text messaging. The more error and the more things you might do wrong, the more she's going to get turned off, and then you won't have the possibility on getting her on a date. Next, it might come off really awkward, okay? So if you're trying to flirt with her and maybe you're trying to be a little overly flirtatious, which you might be able to get away with in person, maybe you're going a little sexual with the text messaging and you're being flirty in a way where you're saying something on a sexy level, well, her hearing that, it might be kind of creepy. Again, kind of the same idea as she's reading it in her own voice, but it's not exactly that. But still, the sub-communications aren't there. It's over text, right? She's reading this over text message. So you get in trouble if you say something where you're trying to flirt, but it just comes off awkward. Again, more room for error. So we don't want to be flirting over text for those reasons, but one more very important one. If you're asking me, how do I flirt with a girl over text? What you're also saying to me is that you have all the time in the world to be texting her and that you are trying to build attraction over text. Well, attraction is not something you build over text. Again, back to the same concept of your behavior and sub-communications. So attraction can't be built there. That's kind of part one of this point. But also what you're telling me is you have the time, which means that you're giving her your attention. Do you know what happens when you give a girl all of your attention? And I'm sorry that this has to be the case, but she starts to become unattracted to you. She says she wants your attention. She wants you to text her, but by actually giving her that, she becomes unattracted to you because there's no game. It's boring. She stops caring anymore because she knows she won you over. I know that sounds kind of gamey, but this is how attraction works. You should never be giving a woman all of your attention. You should be busy doing other things. It's okay to give her attention when you're together. I'm not saying ignore her when you're on a date, or be looking at your phone maybe while you're on a date. That's not what I'm talking about. All I'm saying is simply, and if you want to call this games, fine, but hear me out for a second. All I'm saying is you don't want to be spending your time texting her, figuring out the perfect text message to flirt with her. I'm working with a client right now, and I hope he's watching, and he wants to know, how do I be humorous over text? What can I say to her that's going to be funny? I said, why do you want to do that? He says, well, she'll get to know my personality. I said, fair point, but wouldn't you rather do that in person? He says to me, well, yes, but to get her in person, don't I need to be showing my personality over text? By the way, I should mention, this has come from an online dating match. And I said, no, she is going to be interested in you based on a few of the messages you send her, which do show your personality, your profile pictures, and your bio. That's all you need to gain interest. If that's not enough for her, there's nothing you can do. If she's not interested enough by your pictures and bio and a few messages back and forth, there's nothing you can do to make this more interesting until you get her on the phone with you or you get her in person. That's the place to show your personality, not by sending text messages that are humorous or flirty or fun. You can be dry and boring as hell over text message and still be able to get the woman because she knows what your personality is like when she finally meets you. So when you finally meet up with her and you guys are having a good time and you're flirting and you get physical and then you have sex and attraction is built, she's going to want more of that. She's not going to care how much you're texting. In fact, if you're not texting enough, it's going to make her actually more attracted to you. Guys are convinced it's the opposite. They try to tell me, no, Tripp, you don't understand. You don't understand. There's all these women that are telling me that they get turned off when the guy is a bad texter and doesn't text. No. They're upset because the guy is probably not making any effort to see them. Do you understand what I'm saying? That's why they're upset. If they were seeing the guy and the guy was making the plans, they wouldn't care if he's a bad texter. Yeah, maybe they would like more attention and they might get annoyed by it, but it will never make her unattracted. I promise. I go deeper into texting and how to close over text in a free video. It's called The 7 Deadly Text Messages That Make Her Want You. And no, these are not flirtatious text messages. These are text messages that are going to help you close, to help you close the deal, to help you get the date so then you can get in person with them. And they're just copy and paste text messages for free for you. Check it out down below. Smash that like button if this was meaningful to you and it helped you, and I hope it did. Check out the 7 Deadly Text Messages, and I'll see you on the next video.